Hi, welcome to the DataTech. So today we are going to discuss about the mistakes done by aspiring data engineers or the newcomers into data engineering domain, especially into big data. So before I get into this video, right? So for whom this particular video is suitable? So anyone who is willing to enter into data engineering or who is already working as a data engineer. So even for the experienced data engineer people, this video is very useful. So let's get into the topic. Now, what is the first goal? If you are a newcomer, you are watching the video, right? You are just preparing for getting into this big data. So, what is your goal? So that is what my first question is going to be. So, what is the goal for you? So, the goal is ultimately to get into a big data job, a real time job, right? So, if that is the case, so what is the immediate thing that I have to do so that I can get into a job? That is what you have to first focus. See, there is a goal between there is a difference in the goal between a new data engineer and an experienced data engineer. Sometimes a newcomer who is learning data engineering, he used to have the goal of the experienced data engineering. That is the first mistake you should never do as a newcomer. So don't compare yourself with the experienced data engineer who is already working as a data engineer in the big data domain. So that is different. So you can have that goal once you get into the real time experience and have some 1 year of experience, right? Fine. So now let's see what is the goal for a newcomer. So when I say newcomer, right, it doesn't mean only for the freshers or recent college graduates. It doesn't mean that way. So even you have some 10 years of experience in some other technology and you are willing to enter into this big data domain, then I consider you as a newcomer. Okay, so whatever I'm going to say, it's common for both experienced people in a different technology as well as the fresher or a recent college graduate. Fine. Okay. So the goal, yeah, I was telling about the goal. Let's come to that part. So you are a newcomer. What should be your goal? That is the first point, the skill set and the prerequisite. People are got stuck in the first point itself. Like, what are all the skills I need to know? And what is the roadmap I need to know? So because people used to come to me and say, Gautam, I'm getting different roadmaps. My manager is saying one roadmap. My college professor say some a roadmap, and my colleague says, and my relative says, and my neighbor says. So they come with the different roadmaps. Okay. So you need to know like which roadmap is suitable for you. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you which roadmap is suitable for you as a newcomer. Okay, so let's get into it. Fine. So first, skill and prerequisite. Skills and prerequisite. Right. So with respect to prerequisite, what you need to know is first you need to know Linux. So Linux or Linux, whatever it is. So Linux is ultimate thing you need to know. So I recently used to go for some colleges and I do some free seminars, and then where I could see like people are not having the Linux in syllabus itself in the first place. I don't know why, but the thing is you need to know. Right, Linux is very important. The servers which you see, the cluster which is get deployed is all in Linux. So you need to know Linux commands for sure. And if you have time, you can practice Linux shell scripting also. Right. The next thing, you need to know SQL or SQL. So this is very important. Just try to install Oracle or MySQL, any RDBMS. Practice SQL, like starts from select statement, create, insert, update, delete, subqueries, joins, and the inbuilt functions, and how to write a UDF in SQL. Just learn all these things. Okay, that is very important. So as much as time you spent on SQL and Linux, that is worth it. Okay. So the next thing, programming language. So imagine that you are aware of Java already or Scala or Python. Then it is completely fine. No, I'm not into programming. I want to learn. Then I will recommend you can go with Python. Okay, so Python you can pick or any programming language, whatever you are comfortable with. Just learn any one programming. So the agenda here is not to know Python or not to know Scala. It's not that way. So the agenda here, you need to get some hands-on experience on writing code. See, if you are good in Java and you get a requirement in your work as Python, you can easily able to code because you know one programming language, and doing another programming language is very easy for us. Just with the help of Google we can able to do, right? So the approach how you are doing it, how you are handling the scenario is important. Doesn't mean like you are a Java developer and you get a Python requirement you cannot do. No, it's not that way. You learn any one coding. So what are all the concepts I need to learn? So in programming language starts from what is the programming languages, what is the advantages, and how the internal architecture, the execution, how it happens internally, and basic all this theory stuff. And then move on to hello world program, and then try to know what is variables, what is operators, what is array, what is data types, and then move on to object oriented concepts, and then the collections like map, list, set, string handling, exception handling, etc. So I have a video for programming language topics for data engineer. So that video link is there in the description box of this video. You can have a look. Fine. So this is the prerequisite. Make sure you have completed this. Okay. So this is the first thing you have to do. Forget about everything. Okay. So first of all, when you learn something, try to do an unlearn. When you do an unlearn, so your mind will be empty so that you can inherit and you can consume lot of concepts from a experienced person when they are teaching it to you. Right. Okay. Now, coming to skill set, when I say skill set, which is inside your big data world, okay, inside your big data world. So in big data, we have two major leading component. Okay, the first one we call it as Hadoop. Okay, and the second one we call it as Spark. Okay, so now here the first mistake. People used to say Hadoop is dead. Okay, so that is, I used to hear many times people are saying it even last 5 6 years, even before that, even in 2015 itself, people used to say this terminology, Hadoop dead, Hadoop dead. No, it doesn't. You should not say in that way. Something is dead. I'll tell you what is dead. But the thing is, Hadoop is not dead. See, Hadoop is not just one component. It internally has HDFS, MapReduce, Hive, Pig, Scoop, Flume, HBase, etc. Okay, so here Hadoop, the components, the very, very important component in Hadoop that you need to still need to know and you need to aware of for sure is HDFS. Okay. HDFS is the distributed file system that is going to be your underlying file system of any big data project that you go, even in future. Okay, very important. So what is dead in Hadoop is MapReduce. So MapReduce is already dead. You don't want to spend time on MapReduce. So since MapReduce is dead, people used to say Hadoop is dead. Hadoop is not dead. So don't think in that way. So sometimes people used to say Hadoop is dead, so I'm not going to learn Hadoop. I directly go and learn Spark. So that thing will not work out. Okay, so MapReduce is dead. You don't worry about MapReduce. You don't want to learn. So that is alternate of MapReduce is what Spark is. Okay, so learn HDFS. That is very important. And then the most important component in big data, Hive. It's a query engine where you can do all your transformation, the ETL stuff, the T for transformation, the data warehouse thing in Hive. It's a query engine. It supports SQL invented by Facebook. It is part of your Hadoop project. Okay, you need to know Hive. And what else you need to know is you can learn Scoop. So Scoop is part of your Hadoop project, and Scoop acts as a data pipeline tool which bring data from RDBMS to Hadoop, Hadoop to RDBMS. That's it. So we have some other components like Flume, NoSQL database like HBase and all, but that is and all not required as of now. So I told you before, your first ultimate goal is to be get into a big data job. So for that, what I have to do? So don't confuse your goal with the experienced data engineer goal. So experienced data engineer person like me have a different goal of learning additional components. Okay, so this is what we call it as a mandatory components. We have two things with respect to skill. When it comes to big data, right? When you divide the skill, so we have something called mandatory skill, optional skill. So whatever I'm telling you here is a mandatory skill. If you are a big data developer, if you are a data engineer, irrespective to the skill set, what you see in the job description, as an interviewer, I will be focusing on the mandatory skill set which you are aware or not. For example, take Kafka. Kafka is not a mandatory skill set. I can say Kafka is an optional skill set. Now you are coming to an interview and I am an interviewer and I'm just asking you a question whether you have some knowledge on Kafka. When you say you have no knowledge on real time, or you can say I have learned something but I haven't worked, or you can simply say I don't know Kafka, but that is completely fine for me as an interviewer because that is a optional skill set even though it is there in the JD. Okay, what impress me as an interviewer, right? Mandatory skill set. So take all JDs of big data JD. You will see Hadoop as mandatory thing, and that means Hive and HDFS. And you will see definitely Spark in the JDs. You take any JDs, you will be seeing some of the four components for sure, which is HDFS, Hive, and then Spark and Spark SQL. This will be the four components you will be seeing in all the JD, and that is how we conclude that these are all the mandatory skill set. If you want to say that you are a big data developer, you need to know these four components, right? Fine. Let me continue. So now these are all the three things you need to focus on your Hadoop framework. So now let's come to interview perspective and job perspective. Now, will they ask question from HDFS? The first thing what you have listed? No. In interview, you will not get any question from HDFS. People stopped asking question from HDFS. It's like in 2013, 14, 15 and all, people were been asking about HDFS architecture and all, but now no one is asking. So I have a video which is like almost 2 hours. I explained what is the in and out of HDFS architecture, and that is wide enough. Just learn it, close the topic. That's it. Okay. So the video link I have given in the description box of this video. So Hive is very important. If you have 1 hour of interview scheduled, at least 20 minutes they will ask you from Hive definitely. Okay, so you need to know Hive. So if you take Hive, like it has concepts like partition, buckets, and in buckets how to calculate the bucket count, what is the storage format that you use. If you say like different storage format, like we have ORC file format, RC file format, Parquet, what is the difference between these two, and how to write a UDF in Hive, and whether you connected Hive with Spark, and whether you have used acid in Hive. These are some of the interview questions, frequently asked interview questions in Hive. So you have to focus on Hive. Okay, so whatever I'm teaching you, I'm showing you here, the skill sets, the respective video is available in my channel, and all the links are there in the description box of this video. Fine. Next to Scoop. So Scoop, they won't ask much. So we don't have much practical thing in Scoop. It hardly, like we have some 10 to 15 comments. That's it. So just as I told you, I have a video for it for 1 hour. You just watch that video. That is completely fine. You can add that as part of your resume. Say that you have used Scoop for some data migrations. That's it. Not much. They won't ask you much with respect to the scope. Fine. So now with respect to job, okay, generally what they ask you in interview, the same thing we will not be walking when it comes to the job, right? So in your daily day-to-day life, so how this component works. So HDFS for sure you will use by default. Hive, I can say like 60-70 percentage definitely your project will have Hive. Scoop, very rare. Only out of 10 project, I can say 2 to 3 projects will be using Scoop, and that also been automated already, so you don't want to worry about it. So this is what this how these three component acts in your daily life. Fine. So next we are moving to Spark. So when you take Spark, right, we have Spark batch sorry, Spark batch, and then Spark SQL. That's it. Only these two things you have to focus on Spark. So it's about like data frames, dataset, RDD. That's it. You can ask me what about streaming. So as I told you, as an immediate goal for you, right? So you can exclude that streaming part from your goal. Streaming use cases are very rare, and they are comes under optional skill set. If you know Spark, Badge, and SQL, if they are getting a requirement in future in your job, streaming requirement, you can get some time, do some POC, learn it, and you can able to do it. Okay, but as an immediate an entry level, streaming is not a mandatory skill set. So don't worry about Spark streaming, and don't get panic whether they will ask me some question on streaming. Just tell them that you haven't worked on streaming. It's completely fine. Okay, just trust me. Okay, fine. So this is the overall big data skill set that you need to know. Because I'm using LinkedIn, but in LinkedIn I used to see like some of the influencers. They daily used to say this is a roadmap for big data. They would have add so many things to it, and they sometimes some people used to even they forgot to add Spark. But I don't get it why people are creating such roadmap without having Spark and Hadoop. But don't get confused about that thing. So this is, so you can ask me then how can I believe you, Gautam? You can experiment it. You can definitely experiment it. So you can even run a poll in your LinkedIn. You get some votes from them. So I have already done a poll. So there is a LinkedIn post link is there in the description box where you click it, right? So I have already done a poll. So I have like 38K followers. With that, I come to know the most combined tech stack used is Hive, HDFS, Spark. That's it. This is what the most voted thing. Okay, so don't worry about any other DevOps or schedulers thing. So that is required, but not now. So that you can do maybe later once you get into the real time experience. You can do like Airflow or DBT or any other orchestration tools. So don't worry about it. So those things you can do later on. Okay, so this is the very important thing. And I know what you are thinking about. What about cloud? I'll come to that point in some time later. Okay, so now the first mistake, so don't get confused with the skill set. Use this as the roadmap. What I explained it to you. Just please go with this roadmap is wide enough. You can experiment yourself to believe me. Fine. Right. So now what is the next mistake that people used to do? Let's go back to the list. Okay. Project. Yes. Let me come to that part. Project. Yes, that's an interesting thing to discuss. Project. So instead of saying project, what people used to ask me is a real time project. Okay, let's talk very frank. Okay, so like it's not a what to say it, I'm not doing any online session or paid course something to hide stuff, right? I'm not doing such thing, right? So I'm just making a video in my YouTube, that's it. So real time project, so what is a real time project? Can you tell me the definition of what is a real time project? So any project that you work in a real time with the real data with a real client for the real company, and that is called a real time project. So when people a learner, right? So this is I'm not going to blame you. Very important. So you have to create a mindset. Okay, so that is what I'm coming to say. So people used to come and ask me, Gautam, I need real time project experience. So how can I give them a real time project experience in practical, which I cannot do? Or even you are trying to do on your own. How you will be doing it, right? Imagine, so in the real time I will be having 200 nodes of cluster, and each node have around like 60 TB, 70 TB of RAM and more than 3 to 4 TB of hard disk for one particular node, right? Run some cluster running in on-prem, some cluster running on cloud. So how you will be doing that such setup, right? Okay, you can tell me I'll be doing it in my single node or I have three node. Then how come that will be a real-time project? And what about the data? Even in the company, right? In the development, when we are doing the development, we cannot play with real time data, even though I'm working for the particular big data project, right? I cannot take any production data and I cannot test or play with it. So, in that case, how you will be managed to get the data, right? So, you cannot get the real time data, right? You can mock the data, and that means that is also not a real-time data. Now comes to the logic, business logic and transformation logic, join logics. So you have to just create your own logic and you have to implement it, and that is also not a real time. So no one can able to give you a real time project experience until and unless you go to a company and you work on a big data project. So now you can ask me a question, then how will I get the project experience, Gautam? Okay, so now I'll be giving you the solution for this particular question. Let's drill down the mistake stuff. Fine. So the very first thing, you have learned HDFS, you have learned Hive, you have learned Spark SQL. So this is what the roadmap that I have explained you, right? So you have learned everything. So even if you see in my playlist, I have 75 videos and I have recently uploaded like 17 hours of video. Even after watching all the 17 hours of video, right? People used to ask me about, can you give me some project? Right. So the thing is, right? So I have both theory and practical videos, both. But sometimes people used to see first four videos and they used to come and tell me you have only theory videos. But I do have practical videos. I'll take this as an opportunity to just clear that thing. Fine. So let's come back. So you have learned HDFS and you have learned Hive, Spark SQL. So you have learned all these four dots. Now connect it, and you have learned scoop, right? Okay, connect it. So what I'll do with this four dots? So scoop, what scoop is for? Migrating the data from RDBMS to Hadoop. So you used to migrate the data from RDBMS to HDFS or Hive. You bring the data and then you do the processing in Hive. You prepare the processing. That means you create your own transformation logic. So you can ask me what is the transformation logic. I can share you some. Maybe you can connect with experienced people in LinkedIn and just ask them what are all the daily transformations that you do. Okay, so here for example currency conversion, or my client is asking me to generate a report of asking me, like, imagine I work for a Parma client and they're asking me I need a report. So, how many representatives have connected to the doctors and they signed the deal of? So they are asking me this report. So I'll just I have all these data in a table in some RDBMS, and Scoop, I used Scoop to migrate all the data to my Hadoop Hive, and then in Hive I do join between these two tables to generate the report. So simple, right? So you create your own transformation logic, some 5 to 6 logics, and you do in Hive. So once you have done with Hive, you convert all the SQL to Spark. So that is how it was. So like 3 4 years back, right? Companies 3 4, even I can say 5 years back, people have been doing all the core transformations in Hive. And even before that, they were been doing in MapReduce. And people then slowly migrated all the SQLs what they have written in Hive to Spark, because Spark is faster than Hive. So when you say that you have a project experience of 2 to 3 years, you have to say how the initially the Hadoop project have started. You tell them initially we did the transformation in Hive, later we migrated the things to Spark, and again from Spark we again migrated the infrastructure to cloud. So this is how you have to explain the overall project experience. It's not just like you say like in Scoop it comes to HDFS. From HDFS we do processing in Spark and then we load it to Hive or something, some query engine. So it's like it's okay to say in that way, but you tell in a very elaborated way from starts from the day one to day end, the day last or the current day. When you say that you have 2 years of experience in project, then you have to explain it in that way. Right. Fine. So here we are connecting the dots, and you already did the practical for Scoop, migrating the data from Scoop to HDFS and Hive. Fine. And from converting the Spark Hive transformations to Spark. So it's also already done. You have done as part of the learning phase. And connecting Spark with Hive to read the table from Hive and doing the transformation Spark Hive connector is also done. That is also as part of the course. When I say course, I'm telling about my videos or even any course that you learn. These are some basic stuff they will cover for you definitely. So now what is the thing is you're connecting the dots. That's it. So this is the project. So simple. So now what you have to do? So you have to here add some uh, spices to it to explain it in the interview. So in interview, you can ask me whether can I telling this is enough. No, it's not enough. I'll tell you additionally few more things. First about you have to tell what is the one second. So you have to say what is your LOB, line of business. You have to tell whether you worked for Parma or FinTech, or like you worked for banking, retail, e-commerce. You have to say what is your line of business. And then second, you have to say like how many source systems that you have, sources, whether you read the data from RDBMS or you read the data from some files or folders. So you have to say that. And then third, you have to say what is the volume of data that you get. Okay, this is a next mistake people used to do. They always think that the volume, when someone asks me in the interview, I have to say like terabytes, gigabytes. Even gigabytes means 100 GB, 300 GB, 400 GB. It's not like that. The more when you say this much volume to a real time person, he will easily find out. See, we don't have it is like we are not handling that much volume of data. Maybe some companies can handle, but in a very regular way, if you see, even 10 GB you can say people are handling it. Okay, so we are migrating to this big data stuff. It's not only for the volume. You have to be very you need to have this in your mind for sure, very clearly. The thing is, we are moving to big data for two important things. First is it is open source for the cost cutting. Second, processing speed, the transformation speed for your logic is running faster. And third is what I can say, volume. Okay, so don't bring always volume as the first point. Don't bring that. So here, when you say volume, right? So you can even say 10 GB. Now I'll give you one idea. So you can tell that the data that you are handling is for around 15 plus countries. Okay, 15 plus countries, and each of these countries have around like 100 plus tables in the source system. And for every 1 hour you are running your Hive job or Spark job, you can say anything on top of this 100 tables into this 15 countries. So average for one table from one country for 1 hour, it will be like some 10 GB, you can say like that. 1 million records roughly, because no one will expect you to say the exact precise count. No one will expect to do that. So when you give that kind of precise count is where like when sometimes perfection is also a mistake, right? So you have to say in a kind of an approximate way. because in real time that is how things works, right? So you just tell them, just go with that 5 countries or 2 countries, even that is fine. So just say instead of 100 plus tables, you can say from source we have like 15 tables, 20 tables, to maybe you can reduce the complexity by saying the count, less count, right? And then 1 hour is the schedule, the Spark job, what you have written, the transformations, what you have written for the report, right? Tell them it runs 1 hour once it has been scheduled with something like Airflow or Control M, you can say some schedulers. And then for each table from the source, you get some 1 million records or 10 GB, something like that, right? So that means 10 GB into 100 tables into 15 countries. So that will be the overall volume end of the day, right? Or whatever it is, or you say like 10 GB into 50, you are getting only 15 tables from 4 countries, means that is your volume. So I'm an experienced person, right? I'm working, so you can trust me, right? You have to trust me, right? So here the thing is like we have, even in my experience, I even processed 5 to 10 GB of data for one particular table, for one in one particular schedule, so that is how it works. Okay, so volume. And then fourth thing is the story telling of your project, the architecture. Okay, and one more thing, so transformation. So people used to ask me what logic I used to do with that Spark job. So it's very rare that people used to ask the precise and exact transformation. But before they ask this, you tell them what business you will be doing it, right? Imagine you work for a e-commerce client, right? So you work for some e-commerce client, say that you have this big billion day sale, the Diwali sale time. You will be having a lot of clients and they will be asking a different reports, like I'm a customer, I'm purchasing in the e-commerce website, so now I'll be getting a basic report, right? Or let's say like I'm using YouTube. So YouTube provides me, there is a product in YouTube called YouTube Analytics. So YouTube Analytics generates a report for me saying that this particular video, in which geographical location people watched a lot, and then what is your average revenue that you generated from this video, and whether which gender and age group are interested in this particular video. So this kind of information I'll be getting. I can even compare two videos analytics. So this is the report they are giving to me as a client, right? So that means, so this report has some logics internally. They have to perform some joins, they have to write some functions, UDF. Maybe you see the revenues what they show for me is in USD, and in Google, in YouTube Analytics, there is an option to request for the INR also, currency conversion, I can see. So that is a report. So they have to write a function, a UDF, to convert the currency from this to that. So these are some of the transformations. So you can Google it for business logics, or you can just connect with the real-time professions in LinkedIn and get them some transformation logics if you want. But no one will be very precisely asking what exact transformations you do. It's not like that. But they will be very curious about what business you are doing, the line of business. If say Parma means what exactly you are doing with your Parma thing. So I'm working with the doctors and representative communication data and the drug sales data. So that was your part. Okay. So if you are working for e-commerce, then you can say like whether you are working on the transaction phase or you are working on the dispute phase, or dispute means people raising complaints, right? Dispute phase, or you work for data governance, the security part. So things will be get categorized in that way. Okay. So you choose one domain under the line of business and tell it. Right, fine. So these are the some of the points that you have to consider while explaining your project, the architecture. So real-time project is something you will get it in real time only. So having this as a blocker in your mind, so people will not like get the mindset to explore the projects. So please try to do with some sample 10 record is also fine. Try to do the end-to-end architecture. Like for example, I showed here Scoop to Hive and Hive to Spark. Do that practically, and then with this start explaining your project. That's it. So put some extra words, like tell them that you connect, you, as I told you, you have to connect with so many real-time experienced people. Ask them what is the cluster volume they have, what is the RAM capacity, what is the hard disk capacity. You connect with 2 to 3 people. With that, you conclude some numbers for your cluster setup and volume of the data they handle, and schedule whether their job runs one day once or hourly once or midweek or monthly once. Just take that kind of an scheduler stuff, and then you can explain, right? It is that simple. Okay, so this is what I wanted to tell you when it comes to the real time project thing. So have that, keep that in your mind for sure. And the thing is, even there is a lot of videos available. People are explaining the end to end project, cloud and all, but still people have this in the mind asking for, I need a real time project. Because even after watching such videos, not only my channel, I'm saying there is very good channel outside available, they provide lot of project videos. Even though after completing that project videos, right, people still asking a question that I need a real time project, because your mind knows that what you have done is not a real time project. So the real time project only you will be getting in the company. Even you learn some training institute, the training institute can give you some cluster setup and they ask you, they can show you some real time project, but that is a replica of real time. It resembles like a real time, but that is not a actual real time. Okay, so uh, there is nothing to blame on anyone here. The learner, as a learner, you have to know that this is the reality. Okay, so get the theoretical experience from the experienced people and apply it on the practical stuff what you have already done, and just create the storyline for explaining in your interview. That's it. Fine. So here we have seen source, volumes, the story preparation, and the transformation line of business and everything. All right. So now what is the next mistake? Let's get into it. And I'll be making a project video. If you want to explain a project with 3 years of experience candidate, how you can able to explain your project for the 3 years. So I'm going to make a separate video for that. Soon I'll be uploading it. For now, if you find the link in the description box, the video is available. If it is still not, the link is updated, then please wait. I'll be uploading it. Resume. Okay. So resume preparation, that is the next thing we have to discuss. So when it comes to resume, right? So people used to send me resume for verification and all. So what I used to generally focus is I'll not be worry about what is your uh, 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 summary and what is your highlight. So that is not required. So two things that you need to be very focused with your resume: skill set. So when it comes to skill set, right, try to add the skill set by categorizing it. For example, you put data storage. Under data storage you put hdfs or any NoSQL database that you have learned, and then data pipeline. So in data pipeline, you can add Scoop or Kafka or Flume, but as I told you, Kafka, Flume and all not required for now. Scoop. And then data processing, that is the data ETL stuff, which you can add Hive, Spark. In Spark again, you can add Spark SQL, Spark Batch, etc. And then we have this data scheduler. So we have data scheduler in Hadoop, Woozy. So any other scheduler you can add it. So this is how you have to categorize. Sometimes what people used to do, right? So even please add MapReduce, even though it is not there, but try to add it in the resume. So what people generally do, then they just put skill set. They will put HDFS, comma Hive, comma Spark, comma so and so in one line. That's it. So try to categorize in this way so that you are creating lot of keywords for the search engine to bring your resume top. So see how many data keyword I have: 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how it has to be. And not only the skill set thing, when you explain your project, right? So you have the project, and in project you have something called description. So in the description also try to describe the project in module wise, like what you have done in the data pipeline or data migration, how the migration happened. You say we use Scoop to bring the data from RDBMS to Hive or HDFS and HBase, and what is the data processing you have done on top of it. So that you have to say, like, I have done like so and so processing for the reporting team. We generate the data in this way, so and so story thing you have to add there. So try to describe the project also in the module wise. And finally, you have to add technology used in this particular project. So HDFS, Hive. So why we are doing this, right? So we are giving lot of keywords to our resume so that the search engine works well. When HR tries to search for keywords like Hadoop, Hive, Spark, they will get your resume because you have more keywords, because the interviewer will not check all these resume stuff. Okay, what you have added. So the skill set. So now the next thing is project. Okay, imagine you already have some 5 years of experience in mainframe or informatica or testing. So please don't include that projects in your resume. Don't do that. Okay. So don't do that. Just add your last three projects like big data only. Just do that. Just hide all your existing technology stuff from the resume. Don't do that. Okay. Don't put I know mainframe. I worked in testing and all. Just don't do that. Okay. So just add only the big data stuff what you have learned. Fine. So when it comes to freshers, right? So you will be doing some projects, some POCs, proof of concepts only in big data because you don't have any old tech stack thing because you don't have an experience. Just add those stuff. And for freshers, I'm telling you this because when for freshers getting into any tech stack is very hard, right? Because people ask for experience. So try to get any tech stack job you get, just do it one year, whether Python or testing or something you just do there for 1 year. Get the tag, IT tag, and then you can move on to big data by learning it, by showing the POCs and projects once after you getting the general IT experience. And for freshers, you can still try, but you can do this. So if you are a fresher, try to create a freelancing accounts in Upwork or freelance.com, create a big data profile and try to get some projects from the freelancing. So just tell them I can do it for free for experience shake, right? So that you can explain to the HR that you have experience, you have some 6 months of experience in freelancing. Okay, so you can add that in as part of your resume. Fine. So this is the two important things I wanted to tell you. And then we have something called highlights. Next to your summary you can add highlights, and in highlights you have to do a self marketing. So if you see what is my highlight, right? I mentioned that I have a YouTube channel with this much videos and this much subscribers. I have an Instagram page where I used to write about data. I have a LinkedIn where I have a follower like 5k 2k follower or 10k follower, whatever it is. And I am a technical blogger. I used to write a blog in LinkedIn and Google Blogger. These are my highlights. So this is called a self marketing. So self marketing is one of the very important thing that you guys have to do definitely. So try to write one post daily in LinkedIn. Even you can schedule it. Saturdays you sit and just prepare some 10 post and schedule it for the entire week. Or you create your Instagram page for data stuff, or you create a YouTube channel. Or if all these things seems to be very hard, just go to Google Blogger, write one blog per day. Okay, just add that in your resume that you are a blogger. Just don't do before the day you go for an interview, because when they go for the link to see the vlog, right, they will check the date. So try to do as before as possible. Try to create blogger. It's all free. The thing that you invest is your time, and that is also for learning purpose. Whatever you write a blog, you are learning it and you get some learning. You need some content, just go to ChatGPT or go to blogs, right? Facebook data engineering blog or Uber data engineering blog, big data category, choose it and just learn something and then add that as part of your blogger. That's it. So easy. So easy. Okay. So this is what in resume. So even if you send me the resume, this is the points that I used to focus. You should not add any of your old technology name. You have to in your project description should be get categorized as modules like this, and then your skill set. Other than that, whatever you have your own design of preparing the resume is completely fine for me. Okay. So this is the primary thing we have to focus on, the resume, right? And one page resume or two-page resume is completely fine. It's up to you. Just add only two big data project or one POC, one project. That is completely fine. And don't put duration in that. Okay, don't put duration 3 months, 1 year. Don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Fine. So this is what I'll be focusing when it comes to the resume, and your title, right? So with the resume title should be data engineer. Okay, big data engineer, you can put in that way, big data engineer. So if you have any combination tech stack, right? So if you already a database developer, or you already a Java developer or Python developer, even any other ETL tool like Informatica, Teradata databases, so you can add that as part of your secondary title, big data engineer. Also and the down you can add Python, big data engineer, or database, Oracle or MySQL, big data engineer with cloud, big data engineer with data science. Even some data scientists used to learn big data. Okay, so we are trying to project with the secondary tech stack. Don't worry if you don't have any related or secondary tech stack, don't worry, leave it. Just put big data engineer. That's it. Fine. So senior big data engineer, junior and all not required, just big data engineer. That is fine. Try to add your LinkedIn profile as part of your header or somewhere in the mid. Fine. Now, what is the next thing that the mistakes that we have to check is job interview. Okay, so job interview pretty much I covered in the project explanation itself. So the one point that I missed there, I wanted to tell you here. See, when you go for a job interview, right? The storytelling. Okay, the storytelling means the end-to-end project storytelling you will get only when you attend the real interview. Okay, just doing a mock interview with your colleague, partner, friends will not work, because it's a mock interview and he is the friend, the fellow guy. Even I do whatever it is, he's fine. So your inside mind knows that, subconscious mind knows that, right? So try to attend the real interviews, right? So any company, so you will have some dream companies, right? So people what used to say, without having this mock interview preparation, how can I attend the actual interview? So if I attend, then I'm losing the opportunity, right? So just go for some companies. Some consultancies also used to schedule a telephonic interview or a face-to-face interview. Just go attend the interviews. uh, for sure, I'm telling you, for first three interviews you will fail. What, Gautam, you are telling like this? So definitely that happens. So the probability, I can say 80% that happens. That definitely we can expect, because we always not think in a good thing way itself, right? We also need to expect the bad stuff will happen. Then only our mind will get matured, right? So you have to be ready for everything. See, once you attend this 3 to 4 interviews, right? The bad thing is you didn't get selected. That you don't even consider that. What you get good thing from that is experience. Your storytelling capacity will be very good in the sixth interview. 5 interviews you failed, in the sixth interview definitely you will see the progress. Definitely you will see. It is from my 1.50k subscribers I have, and from that almost like 10 to 20,000 peoples in the last 7 8 years. I got messages, communicated with such peoples, and one common thing that people used to say, the more they attend the real time interviews, the more they get the practice of explaining their project in a very good manner. So I'm not saying this for the newcomer. Even people who have like 5 years of data engineering experience, they will not get the storytelling thing when they go for the interview, even though they have very good communication skill. Okay, so I'm not having that much good communication skill. I'm open about that, but still I can able to explain the project very good, because I have experience in teaching, training, and I really worked in it, and I do YouTube stuff, so I have that storytelling capacity. So that is very important. So when you practice a lot in front of mirror will not help, and in front of your friends will not help. Attend the actual interviews, then only your storytelling capacity will get increased. And also the questions what they will ask you, that you cannot expect or guess, right? So the questions what they ask, it's the list of question what in the interview they ask, right? At some point of time it comes to a circle. Definitely it comes to a circle. It's not an infinity, it comes to a circle. So you attend 5 interviews. From sixth interview, whatever the question that you heard in the previous interview, the same thing they're gonna ask. So you will be having answers for it, right? And that's it. And one more important thing, and very important thing: challenges faced. So anyone can explain what is what questions. Anyone can explain their project architecture. Anyone can able to explain the story, everything. But challenges what you faced is what people will be asking. So just take some list of challenges. So just check with some of the experienced people from LinkedIn. Ask them challenges. Challenges is very important. Rather than asking what is the project architecture, volume you faced, scheduler stuff, ask for the challenges. Like if you take Hive, right, creating a partition table or deciding which is the partition column itself is the first challenge we will be getting. And then when you have bucket, right, so buckets and all, like we have to decide the bucket count. Deciding the bucket count will it's more important, because based on that only the entire performance of your query resides. So bucket calculation is something based on the volume, based on the data, everything. So we have challenges in deciding the bucket counts. I have video for this as well. And then Hive ASCII table, that is a again challenge to create a table with insert, update, delete functionality. And then like challenges with storage formats, right? So ORC file format is faster than any other file format. So why ORC, why not any other file format? Why not Parquet? So this kind of challenges, or you create your own challenge and explain it, or just check with the people. Tell them in Hive, can you tell me some challenges? In Spark, can you tell me some challenges? Just you give them the question. You generally don't go and ask generic, tell me some challenges. Don't do that way. Just precisely ask them, Hive, I need some challenges. Spark, give me some challenges. So when it comes to Spark, right, connecting Spark with Hive ASCII table is a very biggest challenge, it's a very biggest challenge. So Spark plus Hive as the table connectivity. Just Google it. You will be getting it. Even I have written a blog post for this in my LinkedIn. You will be getting it. I have the blog post link in the description box, but I don't have a video for this. But there is a blog post. And then connecting Spark with JDBC is a challenges. The parallelism lags here. So, but there is a solution for it. I have a video for this. So these are some of the challenges. Connecting, integrating. For example, connecting HBase with Spark, Cassandra with Spark, and there is something called in Hive, we have a challenge in compaction with respect to ASCII table. We have to do this compaction. Compaction takes lot of time to. It's actually a garbage collection because when there is an ASCII table, right, in Hive, the ASCII table does the update. But in HDFS, what happens, right? One Gautam, okay, and now you are updating the one to Nandini. You are updating to a different name. Okay, so now when user select star from serial number 1 means they will get this record, but this 1 comma Gautam also will still store in your HDFS. It's a waste of space, right? And when the query takes time to scan through all this to find out the latest record also. So compaction is something, it deletes this and have only this, so the storage space is also getting freed. But running compaction will take longer time. It's like a garbage collection, right? When you are cleaning your entire house, the activity in the house will be get disturbed because you are cleaning it. That's the compaction. So in Spark also we have this compaction thing when we do connect with Cassandra NoSQL database or HBase. So these are some of the challenges, and how to calculate the Spark executor memory, driver memory, uh, number of cores and executors. So for this also there is a formula calculation. There is a video in my channel for that as well. You can find the link in the description box of this video. So, given of all this, these are some challenges I am telling. I haven't prepared for this particular thing, but I'm just telling on the flight comes into my mind. I'm just telling all this thing. Like that, you connect with people to get these challenges. Guys, challenges is important than anything else. When you start explaining the challenges on your own before the interviewer asking that, right? The interviewer will be impressed like anything when you start explaining your own challenges and the solution. Damn sure this will work. Okay, fine. Because if I am an interviewer, I'll be asking some basic 3 4 challenges whether you faced. If you haven't faced, and I'll be disappointed. I will not select. So I also made some videos before. In my previous video, I said even now if some candidate comes to me in my interview, right, I'll be asking only 10 questions. For this 10 question, if the candidate is able to answer, select it. Not even 10, 7 question I'll select. So that is also there in my video. You can check it out. So because like what I used to focus is like the basic challenges itself you haven't faced means then what else you have done, right? So that is the thing. So challenges is most important thing. So that is one mistake that people will never do, and they will never check directly. They will go for interview just with the learning stuff and doing the project stuff. Doing project or explaining the story is secondary. Explain the challenges what you faced is what the primary thing. Okay, fine. Networking. So networking also I covered in between. LinkedIn is one of the wonderful place for the networking. Please do connect with data engineers. Don't hesitate. Even if you don't get response back, right? Fine. You keep on asking them. See, I accept. I have like 38K followers now. I used to get some messages. So many messages I haven't responded, and I am take this as an opportunity to ask sorry to you guys. So the thing is like I'll be getting a lot of messages, but I used to still respond messages which always in the top 10. When the time when I log in I see some 10 messages, I'll be responding definitely, right? So that is how. So don't get kind of a bad understanding. Don't think in a different way. Keep on asking them. At some point of time some people can give you the response. Just connect with them. Even some people charge for 1 hour. That is fine. Just 200 or 100. Just connect with them. Get the information what is required for you from them. All these questions what I asked, note it down. Just ask to them. Okay, so networking is important. Try to get more followers to you. Just you send some request, 100 requests per day. Do this daily. In return you will be getting it back. So no one will come back, like it's not like a Facebook or Instagram, like people will say, no, I cannot accept this request because I don't know who is he or she. Because this particular LinkedIn is a professional network, right? To anyone you can send a request, and your profile has to be very good, right? Then only I'll be showing some interest. Write some blog, show something to the people. Just write something on the LinkedIn. You can see my LinkedIn post, or you can follow some of the leading Instagram, sorry, LinkedIn data influencers. So there is an IBM conducted they have written a blog. IBM have written a blog, top 25 leading data engineers must follow in LinkedIn. So I am sharing that link in the description box, and I'm glad to say that I am also one of the person has been listed in that IBM's data influencers list. So I'm happy to say that here. So you will be seeing other data influencers. You can send a connect request and just enable the notification so that you will be getting all the posts which they are writing on the LinkedIn. That is a very good learning you guys can take. So networking is very, very, very important. And then cloud and on-prem. Okay, now coming to the cloud stuff. So once you have done learning all these data engineering stuff, whatever I said, right, then you can move on to cloud. So you can ask me, Gautam, I've done almost all the preparations, Gautam. Now I have time. So in that case, what is the extra thing you recommend to focus? Means I'll say cloud. So when you say cloud, 2 3 days back I got a question. The question is, he was a fresher. He's doing his college. The question is, Gautam, what is the difference between Hadoop and Spark big data stuff and cloud big data stuff? Okay, so I cannot say the question is strange or different or bad. See, cloud is a infrastructure provider. Okay, so if you take what is the leading big data components, like we have two things, right? Hadoop and Spark, right? So these are the two leading big data components. Fine. So what is on-prem and cloud? First, we can discuss this. On-prem means, so you have the entire server is owned by your company on your company owned responsibility. Imagine your company has 9 floor building. In eighth floor, you have the server. In that server only, your all application, your data, your database, big data cluster, everything is deployed. So what happened if that eighth floor server got crashed? Everything is gone. Right. So here cloud means, so there is some person who is selling the virtual services to us. So that particular person takes care of the responsibility of storing all your data in his server. For example, I am Gautam, and I'm buying like acres and acres of land, and I'm building my own server farm, and I deploy all the servers, and then I'm giving the services, rental services for you. So you need RAM, you need hard disk, you need empty servers, I'll give it to you. So pay for what you use. That is what cloud service providers are doing. So they are not only giving big data stuff, they are providing services in infrastructure, product as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, data science services, and front end web application services, and so many other services. One services what this cloud providing to us is big data services. Okay, fine. So now you take, we have some three leading service providers in cloud: AWS, Google Compute Cloud, Microsoft Azure. Okay, these are three leaders, leading people and very famous. And we have something like Snowflake, and then we have Databricks, etc. But they are like top leading service providers. Now, as I told you, these three service provider have so many services, not only big data, they have other things to do as well, but they are also supporting big data service. Now what this AWS is doing is, they just take the same Hadoop and Spark from the Apache website, the open source one, and they install everything, and they create a cluster for us, and just go to AWS and tell, I need a 10 node Hadoop cluster with this much RAM, this much hard disk. They will create it for you, and they provide that in the name of service called EMR. Elastic Map Reduce is a big data service name that AWS has. So what I need to learn here, nothing, just you need to know what is EMR is. Again, inside EMR, same Hive, same Hadoop, same Spark, same thing. You don't want to learn it again, right? So just I have a video for this. Just see how the EMR cluster has been created, what this EMR is all about. And in Google, the same big data service provider in the name of Data Proc. And in Azure, they give it in the name of HD inside. And we call all these as big data service managed services. Everything is installed. You just turn on the button, create the cluster, start deploying your programs and job. And we call this as an on-demand cluster. For example, so pay for what you use. Imagine my Spark job has to run only once in a week, Wednesday only. But if it is on-prem means you have to pay for all 7 days, 24/7 you have to pay. But if you use EMR or Dataproc means only on Wednesday I will create the cluster, I will run my job, generate the report, I will give it to the client, and then I will delete the cluster. I don't want to do it. But you will get something in your mind. What about the data then when you delete the cluster? So in cloud, right, we split storage and compute separately. Okay, so compute means you're running your Spark job. Storage means the data on which you will be running your Spark job. So this data will be get stored in an external hard disk in AWS, like that external hard disk in GCP, external hard disk service in Azure. So you will be running only the compute. So EMR is only for compute. Dataproc is only for compute. Okay, if you also store the data also inside the EMR hard disk itself means then you cannot delete the cluster. Okay, storage and compute should be two different process, and that is one important thing, and they are serverless. That means we don't want to worry about allocating the resources. On demand basis, the cloud provider itself will take care of it, adding RAM and more hard disk whenever it is required. That is what we call it serverless. And this is all the main advantage of moving the big data cluster from on-prem to cloud. So it's again same Hadoop, same Spark, but one thing is on demand. So pay for what you use. So you are reducing the cost, and you are getting more data reliability. And then because like if one server goes down, still AWS has the copy of our data in a different server. So fault tolerant is very high. 24/7 the application will be running up and running. Okay, that is all the main thing with respect to this. So you pick anyone because we don't know which service your company, to which company you are going for an interview. We don't know which service they use, right? Just pick anyone. Just learn what is EMR data proc, and that is enough. And apart from this big data service, this AWS GCP provides their own service for big data solutions also. Okay. So for example, I'm telling for example, if you take AWS, they have something called Redshift. It is also similar to alternate for your Hive. So Redshift is a query engine come database where all data warehouse ETL stuff happens there. And if you have time, you can learn this. Okay, or experienced people already who is experienced in data engineering who is watching this video, maybe you can learn this. And especially in Google, they have something called BigQuery, which is very faster than Redshift and Hive. So it's again a big data solution provided by Google only. You can use BigQuery only inside their service and Redshift only in their service. Like that, they give few more other services also. But this is I'm telling you for knowledge purpose. I'm not asking you to learn this immediately. Okay, fine. So we discussed about this on-prem cloud also, and the mistakes like what we do, right? So the next thing we need to discuss about Spark versus PySpark. This is actually a mistake. The question itself wrong actually. So people see in Spark we have three language support. So four. So we have Java, Scala, Python, and R for analytics. No questions. No one will ask question like Spark versus Scala Spark. No question. No one will ask. Spark versus Java Spark. No one will ask such question. But this only question people are asking like PySpark and Spark. What is the difference? See, it's just a Python Spark. That's it. See, Spark is common. We need to know Spark, the internal architecture, and what is the advantage of it, and how it works, and how to deploy. This all same. Only the language what you choose to write the code is Python. That's it. So there is no such a question called what is the difference between PySpark and Spark. Okay, don't because when you say this way, like in the interview or to someone, right? They feel different because this is an invalid question actually. Okay, so maybe you can ask PySpark with Java Spark. That you can ask, but again, even in that question, only the programming is different. That's it. So this is not a valid question. So PySpark is something again you need to know. Spark internal architecture is everything same. All you are doing is you are just applying the code in Python. That's it. So this is one common thing I generally get it from so many people as a question. So don't worry about it. So these are all some of the mistake is what I could see from the aspiring data engineers, newcomers, even experienced data engineers are doing. So I just wanted to explain you all this in one video. I was thinking about it in very long time, so I just took today. I was like thought to do this video definitely for sure. So that's why I've just uploaded this video. And thanks for watching my channel. And if you really like this video, please do repost and reshare my post in LinkedIn, or please share my video in LinkedIn, and please do comment it for better reach. And my Instagram and then my LinkedIn URL is in the description box of this video for any question. And I have a lot of big data videos in my channel and cloud videos also. Just have a look in my channel, The Data Tech. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much.